Hello, everyone. Forgot that was still there. And welcome back to the Extra Attacker Hockey Podcast. I am your
Oh
co-host,
no.
Kynan Zorik, and joined alongside me, whose camera is no longer dead, is Jeff Hale. How you doing today?
I needed that laugh, let me tell you.
Oh
That was
dear.
that was completely unplanned, but dude, I needed that. It has been a week. Let me tell you.
Oh yeah, it's been good. I woke up this morning with a cold, so this morning has been very slow for me. So that's why we ran into that little hiccup there. But we've got a great show lined up for y'all today. We've got some funny jokes, some funny memes, and some good conversation to be happening. And it
Yes.
has been yet another week in the NHL.
It has been one of the weeks of all time.
Yeah,
I will
it's
say that.
it's the league continues to throw curveballs, as the opening month of the season always does, as teams underperform, overperform, as they figure out what's good and what's not. And then we're getting closer. Once by the middle of November hits, we'll start to actually see everyone kind of converge to what they're supposed to be doing and what we can
Yeah.
expect for them for the rest of the season. But for now, we still get to enjoy the absurdity and insanity that is the first few weeks of the NHL.
Yes. Everything is still meme territory. So let's enjoy it while it lasts, because it's about to get serious here. A couple weeks. It's gonna be less funny and more depressing for a lot of us. We'll
Well,
see.
I think that's a little bit of copium, but I I'm feeling rather optimistic about the future of things. But first,
Oh good.
let's dive into the one something that only was going to happen this week. It was only going to happen once this year, this season, and that is the Frozen Frenzy. Jeff, do you know what the Frozen Frenzy is?
I don't. Tell me about it. I do actually know what it is, but
So
I just set you up.
for those who also don't know, wink, Frozen Frenzy is a kind of special promotion sort of thing where the NHL coordinates it, where all 32 teams play on the same day. And it's great for hockey fans, horrible for fantasy managers because you have to have every one of your players playing, and so you have to decide who to bench and who not to. But for the fans, you get to see every team play. But it happened twice last year. I think it's only going to happen once this year
Okay.
because it's a logistical nightmare to coordinate.
Yeah. Yeah. I
But we
I missed most of what happened this week. We'll get into it, but I was a little preoccupied that day, so I missed a lot of the games. I got to see a couple minutes here and there. But yeah, I mean, all 32 teams playing 16 games. That's a full day of hockey. It's pretty hard to mess that up.
yeah. Well, and
That's called foreshadowing.
well, would you like to elaborate on how this stuff did not mess up?
Did not mess up. Well, all teams played.
Mm-hmm.
There was that. That's about the only thing that went right. We'll get into it more later, but our good friend Gary Bettman has a way of taking something that's just a slam dunk, no pun intended, and just butchering it and making sure that we don't get all of the good out of it that we could possibly get. So we'll get into that a little bit later today.
Okay. Okay. Well, I'll quickly then go into the numbers because I'm a numbers guy. I like numbers. So for the Frozen Frenzy, with all 32 teams playing, obviously there were 16 games because you need 2 teams per game. There was only
Quick
98
maths.
goals scored. We didn't get into the 100 goals, but that did average for 6.1 goals per game. The record of goals in a single Frozen Frenzy is like 114 or something around there. We had 958 shots, so goalies didn't do very good. That was a sub 900 save percentage across the league, so goalies do better.
Proud of y'all.
Yeah, so which means there was 861 saves. There was only one hat trick, oddly enough. Only one person got a hat trick that night, and the first goal was scored at 6:14 p.m. Eastern, and the final goal of the night was scored at 1:36 a.m. Eastern on the following day.
I do want to point out too. You did mention that we didn't even hit 100 goals per game, but I do want to just give credit to the offenses. We still scored 98 across the league with 3 teams getting shut out. So 3
That's
teams didn't
true.
even participate in this number,
You know
and
what?
we
That's fair.
still hit 98. That's still pretty good. High offensive game. But yes, goalies do better.
Yeah, except for the ones that got shutouts do worse. That's
Yeah.
my share a little bit of the love, okay?
Yeah, for real.
Seriously.
Jeez. It was a rough day for me, let me tell you. The two of those 3 shutouts, I'm just going to spoil it for anybody who didn't see. The Bruins lost 4-0 to Nashville. Nashville's first win of the season, by the way. Yeah, I'm crying a little bit inside. And then I was at the Ottawa Utah game,
Hmm.
where Ottawa beat us 4-0. It was a rough day.
No kidding. That was I was not expecting that. Ottawa just coming
Oh,
out of nowhere, and your offense was it the goalie? Because I wasn't able to catch that game. Was it the goalie? Was it Utah? Who was it that was struggling so much
it,
for you guys?
it was both. It was both. I mean, Ingram made some mistakes for sure. I can't hang all 4 on him. We have a problem where, because we're a young team, we have a lot of speed, a lot of energy, and we get a lot of breakaways, but then we can't control that the passing. We can't control the shots. So we'll get down on a 1v2 or a 2v2 or whatever it is. We have a good opportunity. We'll send a pass across the ice a foot in front of where it needs to be, or a foot behind where it needs to be, and that just takes all the momentum, takes away that scoring chance. So we're losing on offense there. When we finally do get a shot, we keep putting it center mass on the goalie. Defense, especially this game against Ottawa, I don't know if they came out scared. I don't know what the deal was, but they were just afraid to take a hit after the first couple minutes. Ottawa came out strong. They were playing very, very physical. And Utah just said, "Yeah, we don't want to take a hit." So instead of, let's complete the pass or let's complete the shot, knowing that the hit is coming, it's let's just chip it away and cause a turnover, and then brace for impact, so I don't have to take a hit.
Hmm.
They're skating up to the other players and then stopping and then just kind of tapping them a little bit into the board. We were afraid to lay a hit. We were afraid to take a hit, and that showed all night. Um, I don't remember the exact number, but after the first period, it was something absurd, like 22 hits to 4 or something like that in favor of Ottawa. So it was just an ugly game all around. All of the issues that we've been seeing really hit hard. They carried into the Colorado game on Thursday, but they've got a lot of talent. They just need to start playing well and trying. I mean, that's really what it comes down to. It was ugly. It was an ugly night.
Yeah. Nah, that sounds like it. And was the Ottawa goalie really good too, or is it was just pretty much all on you guys?
I would say probably 80% Utah. Well, I don't know if that's fair. Maybe 70
Because
30. I mean,
because it
he did
wasn't
make some.
Allmark playing, right?
No, it wasn't Oli. He was still injured, but they're back. I mean, he still made some very, very good very acrobatic saves. Um, that I don't know the guy. That may have been a career night for him. He did very well for sure, but we just didn't make it very hard on him to have a good night.
Nah, I that makes sense.
So,
Yeah.
yeah,
Cool.
yeah.
Okay.
So that was rough.
Well, hopefully they're able to turn it around and get back to their winning ways as Utah. And they had a hot start,
Yep,
and
yep. We're still
but
not in a bad position. I mean, 4-2-1 is still not a bad record at all.
no,
The
no,
last 2 losses have been real ugly.
that's better than the Oilers' start last year.
Yeah, yeah, that's fair. That's fair. So
Yeah.
what you're saying is Utah's finals bound.
Oh, you're cup bound. Yeah, essentially.
Got it.
But
Got
we
it.
can also say that
I
about
didn't said
every
it here
team.
first.
Yeah, well, but here's the thing: we can also say that about every team that started better than the Oilers last year. So, I mean, even the Oilers have started better this year than they did last year. Now with their win last night, they're officially better.
Yeah. It's true.
It's officially a better start. But you know who's had a lot of good starts is Sergei Bobrovsky, who this week set a new record for fastest goalie to 400 wins.
La 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 la. I'm not listening.
Hey, Bobrovsky's played on more than just the Panthers. To be fair.
That's fair. That's fair.
To be
That's
fair.
fair. But who does he play for now?
The Panthers, yeah. But they're also willing to pay him over $10 million. or
Truth.
like $10 million or something disgusting like that. But yeah, 707 games, fastest goalie to ever do it. That's impressive. As
Yeah.
if I'm fairly certain, I think he used to play on Columbus.
I want to say you're right.
Oh yeah, he started with Philly.
Okay.
And then went to Columbus for a bunch of years, and now has been with the Panthers.
Yeah, all hate aside, congrats to him. I mean, 400 wins at all is a pretty good accomplishment. But yeah, being the fastest to ever get there, good on him.
Mm-hmm.
Good on him. And he
Yeah.
hasn't always been on good teams either, so congrats to
No.
him.
I mean, I think while he was with Columbus, they were a decent team. I think they were able to make the playoffs at least a couple times. But still, no one thinks of Columbus as ever, this big powerhouse of a team.
Exactly. And if he played on Philly,
at least not in the
Philly
playoffs.
ever been good?
Maybe in the regular season.
Yeah.
He had like 50 wins one season with Philly, I think.
Jeez.
No, not 50. No, what was?
I was gonna say
that's ridiculous. No, sorry,
I'd be
no.
surprised if Philly
20.
ever got
No,
50
it was
wins.
52. It was 52 games. It was the 50 games I was seeing. Okay, yeah, where he had 28 wins. That's a little. That's a little more reasonable.
Yeah, that makes a little bit more sense.
A little more reasonable. Oh my goodness. Yeah, you can tell I'm on my game today.
Who else though is having a really good season this year?
That'd be Winnipeg.
It'd be the Winnipeg
believe.
Jets. Now, I don't want to remind anybody about our preseason predictions, where some idiot decided, Winnipeg, they overperformed last year. They're going to decline. They're not even making the playoffs. And then they said, bet. They are making me look stupid. What is it, 6-0, 7-0 now, something like that?
7-0, yeah.
7-0. They are making me look dumb.
They are averaging less than 2 goals against per game. Just under. They have 13 goals against in 7 games. Really, 6 because they shut out the Oilers.
It's disgusting.
Yeah. Yeah, they have a plus 18 goal differential. They're just absolutely killing it. Yeah, Wilhelm, you're killing it.
I don't know. I left the possibility that I was wrong and Winnipeg was a better team than I thought, but I mean, any Winnipeg fans that say they saw this coming would be lying to you. Nobody thought they'd started off this hot. And now I'm just wondering how long, are we going to be talking about them next week as still undefeated? Like, how long can this keep up?
You'd think it would end soon. And here's the thing. The more you win, the easier it is to lose because you start to get drunk on the wins. It's harder to make changes to improve because any mistakes that you're making aren't being punished enough to make you lose. So you're like, what do we actually work on? I don't know. This was kind of the issue when the Oilers went on their 16-game winning streak last year is they're like, we actually are kind of tired of winning. We need a loss here because we're tired of getting asked about it. 2, we're afraid to change anything. And 3, just
there's so much pressure.
Shut up. Yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah. Especially when you're undefeated. The 16 game, I'm not taking anything away from that, but they had lost games at that point. But if you're starting out undefeated, the amount of pressure that there is, every game just adds to that. We have to keep this streak up. We can't lose. I feel like, of course you don't want to lose, but you almost do. You want that streak to end at some point because then that just relieves the pressure and it's like, okay, now we can just play the game we know we need to play. There's no anything riding on this. Let's just get out there and play the game.
Which is such an odd thing to say where it's like you don't want to win every time. Like obviously you want to win every time, but then at the same time, once you start doing it, you're like, wait, do we actually though?
Yeah.
Maybe sprinkle in like an overtime loss, shootout loss or something. I don't know. Kind of bonkers if you ask me.
So here's the question though. If I go to NHL website, let's go find Winnipeg here.
And I have something really funny to say about Winnipeg once you're done looking this up as well.
Who are their next couple of games? It's not going to make that easy for me, is it?
The Brandon Wheat Kings of the WHL. No.
I don't know.
It's
That's
Calgary and then Toronto. Calgary, Toronto.
Okay. Calgary, Toronto, and Detroit. That's on the 30th. Let me look up the calendar here. And then Columbus will be the first. So they've got 4 games between now and next Saturday. So yeah, Calgary tonight. And here's my question. What's their record? Let's take bets here. What's their record next Saturday when we meet?
8-1-1.
8-1-1. Okay. Here's my thing. If they can beat Calgary tonight, I think they're 11-0 come Saturday.
Wow. Okay.
If they lose to
Wait,
Calgary,
I thought they only had 3 games. Is it 4?
yeah, Calgary tonight, and then Toronto, Detroit, Columbus.
Oh, not 9-1-1. Then I say I missed a
9-1-1.
game. 9-1.
Okay.
Somebody call 911.
Somebody call 911. Okay.
Jets are burning up in the hangar. Whoa.
Yeah. So if they could beat the Flames tonight, I think they stay undefeated. If they lose, I think they're going to lose one more, possibly 2. Because I think Calgary is the best team that they're playing in this 4-game stretch between now and next Saturday. If they win, they go.
Better than Toronto?
Yes. Yes.
That's some bias.
How is that bias? I hate the Flames. I mean, I hate Toronto, but I hate the Flames too. Then the Flames have been, I mean, they're 5-1-1. They started off 5 games, 6 games without losing or something like that. Like they were looking like they were going to be one of the undefeateds, and that's why I think they're just the toughest right now because they've started off so strong. But yeah, if they lose tonight to the Flames, Toronto will be a toss-up in my opinion. Detroit will be a toss-up. Columbus should be easy for them. So
that's what you think, and yet Dallas had their first loss to Washington.
It's true. And you never know. Any given night, right? What worries me is coming up next week. We have to play them, Utah, Winnipeg. So
well, actually, I say that, but Washington's 5-1. Yeah.
What even is hockey right now? You're saying 9-1-1. I'm just gonna say 9-2 flat.
Okay.
I think they lose to Calgary, and then they either lose Toronto or Detroit, but they don't lose both.
That's fair. That's fair.
I'm gonna write that down here.
Do it. Well, and I wanna point out something interesting while you write that down. So the Jets 7-0 start, hottest team right now, doing so well. But in the NHL Super 16 rankings, the Jets are number 2. Somehow. The Jets are second, where the NHL has the New York Rangers, who aren't even first in their division right now, as number 1.
Make it make sense.
They're 5-1-1. New Jersey's 5-4-2. So New Jersey has played 4 more games. So that is why they have the ability to be ahead of the Rangers. But how is a 5-1-1 team doing better than the Winnipeg Jets?
No, I know these kinds of rankings aren't necessarily record based, because if they were, then it would just be a copy of the standings. I understand that point. But
even recent results, it's recently that the Rangers have lost.
I'm not upset with the Rangers being top 2, top 3 right now. They definitely
should be. They're very good right now.
I don't know. Maybe somebody else has a good argument. I don't see a good argument to put anybody above Winnipeg right now, just with how well they're playing. And they're playing a well-rounded game too. It's not like their offense is scoring 10 because their defense is giving up 8. You know, they're playing a very well-rounded game. I don't understand how we could put anybody above them. But like I said, I'm not upset with the Rangers being up there.
No, their top 4 is very good. They got the Rangers, Winnipeg, Dallas, and then Minnesota. Minnesota's off to an incredibly hot start as well.
Yep.
It's 5-0-2. They're just like Minnesota's just coming out of nowhere right now with this kind of performance. I'm loving it from them. They've always been this very forgettable team to me where it's like, oh yeah, the Wild. What have they
Yeah.
ever done again? Like, it's what?
Yeah, the last 2 or 3 years, I feel like they've been really making a name for themselves, though.
Helps when you
And
have Kaprizov and Fleury on your team.
exactly, exactly right. And I mean, Kaprizov, criminally underrated in my opinion. I don't think he gets enough national attention. He is very, very good.
He is
Here's
an underrated star for sure.
yeah, yeah. And just looking at some of the comments here too, somebody's upset Blackhawks got robbed. I don't agree, but I don't disagree either. They're off to a surprising start.
The Blackhawks,
Yeah. Yeah,
two
they've
5-1.
yeah,
That's a
yeah.
surprising start.
Again, not standings wise, but just some of the games that I've seen out of them, they're looking better than the record shows, in my opinion. I don't
Okay.
necessarily agree with that comment that they should be in the top half, but they're definitely looking better than I thought they would. Um, I'm not seeing any glaring issues other than Winnipeg here. I don't think any teams that guaranteed should have been there are necessarily missing.
No, no. I mean, there's. I think this is accurate in
Yeah, it's
roughly.
fair.
I mean, you could maybe swap around a few. Maybe a few teams are a little higher, or lower than maybe they should be,
Sure.
but at the end of the day, I think the right teams are on this list. It's on the NHL social media for any of you who are wanting to see the full list. It's as of 2 days ago, October 24th.
Yep.
So keep that with a grain of salt. There has been games yesterday and a lot of games today. But yeah, you've got the right teams kind of in there. You have
Yeah,
some
I
teams
agree.
you wish were in there, but they gotta turn things around, start improving, like Nashville, like Edmonton, and
Yeah.
you've got some teams that are, maybe the Islanders maybe should be up for consideration soon if they can win a few more. I don't know.
Yeah. I can see them cracking into the last two spots or so there, somewhere in that range. Not too much higher than that, but
The
yeah, I mean, 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago, when the season started, if you told me that we'd be sitting here, what's the date today? The 26th, October 26th. Both Nashville and Edmonton would not be on the top 16 of the power rankings in the NHL. I would have told you you're drunk. Neither team's here. Nashville makes sense. They've been underperforming real bad. Edmonton, what the heck is going on up in
I'm not
Alberta land?
worried, guys. We're fine. Last year, the start of our season, we started 2-9-1. We're 31st in the NHL. We're already 8 games in. We're 3-4-1. We're already doing better. We're already
I
we
love
still
it.
have 4 more games to see how we're doing. Come that same point as last year when our coach got fired and everything. So Knobloch's not getting fired. He's already gotten us off to a better start. So if we can do that this well already, the rest of the season is going to be looking fire.
Oh yeah.
Fire.
Oh yeah. I'm not worried about them, but I have to poke you a little bit.
Yeah, you can't do that. You can't get me on the Oilers. There's nothing I haven't already said to myself that you could say.
That's fair. That's fair. But
I
there's
I,
one
I
team,
practice
one
in the
team in
mirror.
particular though that is not on that list.
Well, they're
I
on
don't
their
think
own
anybody's
list.
I don't think anybody's surprised that they're not on this list. And as you said, they are on their own list. Who is this team and what might that list be?
Well, Jeff, that team would be the San Jose Sharks, and they're on the teams without a win still. And the grand total of teams on that list now is just them and only them. San
As
Jose,
a
06 and 2.
really quick side note on that, you know how like down in the toolbar on Windows on the left hand side, it just gives you here's the news headlines of the day or whatever. and it'll kind of rotate through to try to, oh, hey, here's something you might see. And then you click on it, it brings up the news window. Literally, as we started talking about this, sports headline, San Jose Sharks, ... So I click on it. NBC Sports has an article here that's one of the lead articles on Microsoft News. San Jose Sharks make history by going winless through 8 games for second straight season. Microsoft is on our side.
It's not something I've said often.
You can't make this stuff up. You can't make this stuff up. But you know what you can make up?
Memes.
5+1 things that will happen before the San Jose Sharks get a victory this year.
Heck yeah, ladies and gentlemen. With this, it's time to pull the goalie and do our top 5+1 things for a topic that we'll list out for you. And so this week's Pull the Goalie segment is the top 5 plus an extra attacker, things that will happen before the San Jose Sharks get a win. So, coming in at number 5, Jeff, what will it be?
Our boy Kyler Yamamoto is going to get a real contract offer, and he's actually going to play well enough to keep it.
Wow.
Anybody who doesn't know, he's bounced around. He hasn't met potential. He just got DFA'd yesterday. Sorry, that's a baseball term. He just got put on waivers yesterday to get sent back down to the minors.
Yep. So he's being sent down to the minors by Utah.
Couldn't get it anywhere.
Yep. So we think that, this time in the minors, he'll shape up, he'll figure it out, and he will be able to come back permanently before San Jose gets a win. Yep. Coming in at number 4, GTA 6, Grand Theft Auto GTA 6 will be released before the San Jose Sharks get a win.
The worst part about this photo is this is an actual press release photo, like teaser photo for the game. All I did was put the face on there. I didn't make up the body there.
Oh, yeah, no, that is the perfect body for Macklin Celebrini, the first overall pick selected by San Jose in the 2024 NHL entry draft.
Yes. Macklin Celebrini, go put some clothes on.
Seriously. Okay. Number 3.
This one just blows me away. Ticketmaster will stop charging ridiculously exorbitant fees.
Now, this one, I feel like it might be a stretch, Jeff. I don't know.
Yeah. A little bit. I mean, the fees are more than the ticket themselves. That's ridiculous. I went to the Bruins game on Saturday. 2 tickets. They cost me $40 each. I paid $130 some odd. I'm tired of the fees, Ticketmaster. Get your crap together.
Oh, they're not.
They get to win.
They're not tired of the fees, I'll tell you.
They aren't tired of it at all.
No, but all right. Number 2. Mark Stone will finally play a game in February instead of being on LTIR on the trade deadline.
Patrick Marleau looks so concerned about it too. So crap, we have to play Mark Stone.
And that's why San Jose won't get a win by then, because they're gonna have to keep playing Mark Stone.
Yep.
Yeah.
So good.
All right, and simple but still gold. Number 1, Jeff.
Hell will freeze over.
That is a real sign in a real place, everyone.
Yeah. Fun fact, that is actually a city in Norway. I didn't put the snow in there. But the Sharks mascot looks really happy to be there.
He does, He'd
rather be in hell than be at the Shark Tank.
Well, it's because he knows when hell freezes over, San Jose will get a win. It's just, he knows.
That must be.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, and then our extra attacker for pulling the goalie, reason why of things that will happen before San Jose gets a win. It's Rick Astley will give you up. He will let you down, run around, and he will desert you, which will finally encourage you to go and get a win, Joe Thornton.
He just looks so defeated too.
Yeah.
Oh, Rick Astley.
True.
I almost want to just get the song playing in the background here, but we get copyright striked.
Yeah. Okay.
So good.
Well, now that ends that segment, and so now kind of on to our injury report which might also include some suspensions. We go
Yeah.
into a big long list, so we'll try and be quick about this. I would doubt many of you will truly care about most of these, but there's some interesting ones on here.
Yeah. We'll again, we're not going to spend a ton of time just because there are so many injuries this week. We don't even have all of them on our list for today. But some of the big ones, big notable players you'll notice missing this week. Matt Rempe got sent down. He didn't get injured, but this is kind of the best place to put that. Not a big scorer. Really fun to watch fight. Gonna miss out on that.
Yeah,
Anthony Duclair of the Islanders out long-term IR, retroactive to October 19th due to a leg injury, so he'll be gone for quite a while. Shane Pinto with Ottawa out last night, expected back today, but not confirmed. They don't know exactly what's happening there. Ryan Hartman in Minnesota returned home. They're on a big road trip right now. He got sent home with an upper body injury, indicating he's definitely going to miss the next couple of games. Probably going to get checked out. Might be long term. Dmitry Voronkov of the Blue Jackets skated with the team Friday. Expected late back November. Has an upper body injury. He's been out for quite a while. It's good to see him out there, at least getting some skating in. Robert Thomas of the Blues out 6 weeks with a fractured ankle. So that's a new one. Sean Dursey and John Marino both with that's a funny typo. With Utah
ugh.
had successful surgeries. Dursey on his right shoulder out 4 to 6 months. John Marino with the lower back surgery out 3 to 4. So our defensive core has been decimated. A couple of these guys we talked about a few weeks ago as just starting their injury, but now they're out long. Eric Goodbranson with the Blue Jackets had a successful shoulder surgery on Monday and out indefinitely. Victor Olofsson of the Knights labeled week to week with a lower body injury. Macklin Celebrini will, quote, miss at least 2 more weeks with his lower body injury from their GM. Thomas Nosek expected back from upper body injury in early November. He's with the Panthers. Artem Zub out at least a week with a concussion. Those are never fun. Drew Doughty of the Kings moved to the LTIR with his ankle injury on Wednesday. He's getting old, so I hate to say it. He may be getting close to calling it a career here. Jonathan Drouin of the Colorado Avalanche on the long-term IR Sunday with an upper body injury. But some good news on that front. Val Nichushkin coming back with Colorado. As everybody knows, he's been put on the player assistance program a couple of times. He has arrived back to the team facilities and begun workouts and skating on his own. While he's on suspension, he still cannot meet with the team, work out with the team, anything like that. But he has returned to the team facilities in preparation to come back. I think early to mid-November. They're expecting him back from that.
That's good to hear. He's a very good player, so I'm glad to hear that he's back at it. I don't think I'll be adding him to my fantasy this year, as he always does great and then stings me when I need him most.
Yep. Truth.
But I'm glad to hear that in real life he's doing better and he's progressing towards coming back. I hope he can stay this time. He's just such a good player to not be here playing, and he makes the Colorado Avalanche so much better.
Yeah, and that's a team that, I mean, they've just been decimated. He's been out. Landeskog's coming up on 2.5, 3 years being out. Hopefully he can come back at some point. But they are hurting. With Drouin going out, they've got a couple other smaller injuries. They're still up there and still in contention. So hey, hats off to them. Good for you, Colorado fans.
Yeah. And then not exactly an injury, but a suspension. The Flames prospect, Jeff, you found this one. What is it?
Yeah, Zane Parekh. I don't know how to say his name.
You don't know who that is?
You do?
Yeah.
So he was playing in an OHL game here this week. Very physical game. I want to read part of what this article says here, and then I'll have you show the video here. His Saginaw Spirit were taking on the Sioux Greyhounds. Overall, the game was a physical one, and Parikh took advantage in a way that was overzealous and downright dangerous. Below that, you can see that a player was up against the boards in a compromising position. From there, Parikh rushed into the play and crushed the player's head. I have seen some pretty good boarding calls. I have never seen a player outright try to kill somebody like this.
Yeah, I'm just trying to pull up the video here, but that's actually wild to
Yeah.
Let's see here. Oh, it is working. Okay. So, here we go. Let's Oh! Oh! Oh
Full
my.
on,
Oh.
yeah.
Oh.
Full on
Oh.
hip check, aimed for the guy's head.
That is so illegal. That is incredibly illegal. Holy
That's
money.
Yeah, like I've said, people make mistakes. They do dumb things. You get caught in the heat of the moment. You take your penalty and move on. This, you're not thinking. If we
No.
want to take it one step further, could it get any worse than that? Do you think, Conan? Do you think he could have done anything that would have been worse?
I want to say no, but naturally it's always yes.
Yes. Parikh was ejected for the move, and rightfully so. However, It was then reported that he allegedly tried to spear a fan as he was on his way to the locker room.
I mean,
Fans
hey,
heckling him.
when you're gonna go down swinging, I guess. Respect to the guy for committing to the bit.
Yeah, get your money's worth, I guess.
What more can happen? You've already done that.
Yeah. 10-game suspension is what's coming down. Yes, he was getting heckled on his way to the locker room, and his response, instead of "I'm just going to ignore it," like most players, or the occasional players that they'll yell something back, maybe flip off a fan, he took his hockey stick and speared a fan in the stomach with it. You can't do that. What was going through this kid's head? That's ridiculous.
Well, nothing. That's what was going through his head was nothing. He was acting purely on instinct and that. Yeah.
Sounds about right.
Well, that's our injury and suspension report.
Yeah.
Don't do that.
Some happier
kids.
news.
Yeah, don't do that. We have some new transactions. We have some new signings in the NHL.
Yes,
and
give us some happy news here.
Yeah, so we have Alexis Lafreniere of the New York Rangers, a former first-round pick, I believe might even have been first overall if memory serves, and he just signed for 7 years at $7.45 million. So that's a lovely $50+ million contract for him.
Loving it.
And then we got Shea Theodore of the, I believe, last I remembered he was on the Vegas Golden Knights, but now I want to make sure he wasn't one of the Golden Knights that left them. No, he's still with them. Okay, cool.
No, he's still with them. Yep.
This is again my cold.
We're live, folks.
I'm blaming my cold for my memory. And so yeah, we got Shea Theodore, 7 years, $7.425 million. So $25,000 a year less than Alexis Lafreniere.
Don't forget that
really
.025.
It makes a big difference because over the course of 7 years, that's $1.75 million.
Yeah.
No. $175,000.
There you go. It's a little bit better there. You're having a day.
Oh my goodness.
Good morning.
That was great. Good morning. Even though it's the afternoon. Good afternoon. Good evening and good night. Jake Neighbors, 2 years with the Blues at $3.75 million. And lastly, Paul Maurice, the head coach of the Florida Panthers, the Stanley Cup winning coach, has signed a multi-year deal, and that's all we know. We don't know how many years. We don't know for how much. The other details, I did some digging. They are undisclosed.
Yep.
But it is a multi-year contract extension for the coach who was the most experienced coach, who had coached the most seasons in the NHL as a head coach before winning a Stanley Cup than any other coach in history.
Yeah, I did see originally it was a 5-year extension, but that was quickly debunked, saying, hey, it might be, but we have no details. Mm-hmm. So we'll see what happens. Maybe they extend him for like a week. Who knows? But we talked about the Frozen Fury earlier.
Frozen Frenzy.
That Frozen Frenzy, that one.
Mm.
Just too many Fs, dude. I can't do it. We talked about that. We just had opening day a couple of weeks ago. We're still early in the season. Hype should be high. There's been a lot going around, a lot of discussion, a lot of articles getting written. NHL's ratings are not looking good right now. They are at all-time lows. They are continually dropping. Is this something that we need to be concerned about?
I guess it depends. What are these ratings compared to? What are they like? Is it like right now at this point of the season, or just like what are we comparing these lower ratings to? Because I've heard some things about this, and so I have some things to kind of quell the alarmist tendencies of like, oh no, the NHL's falling. Like no.
Yeah.
For right now at this point of the season, they're naturally going to be quite low, and I can explain why, but. First, give me some context. Give me some context so that I don't just go off and rant and blah, blah, blah.
Yeah. So, like I said, there's tons of articles. Everybody's been talking about it and reporting about it. Most of it is, oh no, the sky is falling. I agree.
Bunch of clickbait.
It really is. It really is. But this article here, I found that actually did give some numbers on it. One of them in particular, Frozen Frenzy Whip Around Show on ESPN2. Averaged just 83,000 viewers, down 57% from last year. So that's a big drop. Last week's Sabres-Penguins game on TNT and True TV was down 32% in ratings and 27% in viewership versus last year's Penguins-Red Wings game at the same date. ESPN's Wild Blues game struggled just as much, down 29% in ratings, 24% in viewership from the comparable Lightning Sabres match last season. We got a few more numbers if I can find them here. Not in this article. Like I said, there's a bunch out there. But yeah, overall we're seeing at least 25% roughly, some as high as 30. And then the Whip Around Show, I don't put as much stock in that, but the fact that that was down 57%, that's not nothing.
No, and so yeah, okay. So it is comparing this time last year versus this time this year. So there's a few things, and so the first things that are actually problems. Some of the things that are listed in this article is
I got some opening night numbers too, if that's helpful.
Some what numbers?
Some opening night. So the St. Louis Blues Seattle Kraken opened averaging 348,000 viewers, which was down 42% from last season's Predators Tampa Bay Lightning. Game 2 of the triple-header averaged 790,000, which was down 45% from the Blackhawks Penguins game last year.
I mean, okay, that game was literally Bedard's first game against Crosby. Okay, so
I was going to say
you have to look at the teams and the players and what it means.
And then the last of opening night was the Chicago Bedards at Utah, down 24% from the Kraken and Golden Knights. They had the night game last year. So even if we give all the credit in the world to, like you said, to that Bedard game, the other two games were still down 42% and 24%. The night game itself it doesn't matter who's playing, but especially with a brand new franchise playing, the fact that that's down 24% is something.
Yeah. I think we got to look at a few things. One, the biggest thing I think that's going to kind of be a bit of an obstacle here is that one of the tweets and the posts and comments in this article is one, the TV deals and the blackouts. Mm-hmm. That's going to play a big factor. I hate blackouts. I think they're dumb. I think you got to figure out a way to get rid of them because, you've got your local TV deals, and so you got to black out certain things. But what are people supposed to do? You got to think of the realistic perspective of your fan. If you want lots of people to watch, you got to make it as accessible, and people aren't going to pay for all kinds of different services. They're either going to not watch or turn to illegal services. So
Yes.
you gotta figure out a way to make that better and easier for people to deal with as one thing. The second thing that is less alarmist and more you gotta consider it when it happens is, okay, yeah, the viewership is down for the Frozen Frenzy or the opening night, but who's playing who? And
Yeah.
at what times and where? Because let's say the Utah thing, how many people were at the event itself versus watching it, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's going to play an impact on how many local people are watching. When you
Sure.
talk about the Chicago Pittsburgh game last year, well, that was Bedard's first NHL game. He's facing off against Crosby in his NHL debut. That's that's the big name. People show up for the big names. If you don't have as big name a matchup, not as many people are going to show up. That's just
Yeah.
the way it is. So if you want
Truth.
people to show up in mass for a specific day, you have to manipulate the matchup to have the right names.
Truth.
It doesn't matter what sport it is. That's just the way it works. The third thing when it comes to the ratings and why I don't think we should be worried outside of the whole blackout scenario is this time of year is not as big a year for hockey. If you think about, say, let's look at Dallas, for example. Dallas Edmonton, their first game in Dallas, a rematch of the Western Conference Finals. And it wasn't even the biggest sporting event going on that day in Dallas. They had their big, crazy college football team that is all kinds of high ratings and blah, blah, blah. And they're playing against like Georgia or something, some other big name team. And that was happening. That's obviously going to that's going to out hype the Edmonton Dallas rematch because it's the beginning of the season. There are bigger events happening. And you have that across the board. You've got the World Series happening right now. You have you're midway through the NFL season. The NBA season's about to start. There's all these other things competing for people's attention.
Yeah.
That are, for a lot of people, going to be more interesting. Not everyone's a diehard hockey fan. And especially when you have Frozen Friends Day, Frozen Frenzy on a Tuesday.
Yeah.
Like, if you're looking for top viewership, a Tuesday is not going to be your best day to do it. I know it's hard on a Saturday because of college football, but then maybe if you want to do a Saturday, have Frozen Frenzy later in the season.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I agree overall. I don't think it's as big of a deal as people are making out to be. However, I do think it's something that needs to be noted and the league needs to keep an eye on that. If you have this season where viewership's a little bit down, don't panic, don't pull the ripcord, but let's investigate. Let's look into why. I think all those reasons are legitimate. One of the big concerning things for me is on opening night, I just gave you all those numbers. All three of those games were beat by a WNBA postseason game. I understand it's the playoffs, but it was the WNBA.
Which is becoming less of a meme these days. To be fair, the Caitlin Clark effect is strong
It's
and
real.
well, even though she wasn't in that game.
Yeah, it is.
She's
It is
been
a real
eliminated.
thing. But
also,
if
you were beat up by the WNBA.
Yeah, if they can become less of a meme, and hockey hasn't been a meme, that's where I start saying, this is something we need to be aware of. We need to keep our eye on. It's a trend that we can't let continue, but we can't panic about yet. But yeah, the Frozen Fury, either don't do it this early in the season
Frenzy.
or do multiple. Yes, that dude, one of these days. Holy, we're gonna get it.
One of us will get it, yeah.
But yeah, not only don't do it on a Tuesday, but don't do it on the same Tuesday as NBA tip-off when the freaking champions are going to play. What are we thinking, Gary Bettman? Are you really thinking that you're going to take some of that market share away from the NBA? You got to be smart enough to know that you're the underdog in this fight. Don't try to compete with them. Schedule around them.
I have to think that there must have been other logistical obstacles that made it so that was the fact that that is the only Frozen Frenzy this season makes me think that it must have been the only day that it would have worked, that they could have made it happen to have all 32 teams playing. That every other Tuesday in the schedule just didn't work. And so they were like, "Okay, obviously it's not ideal because obviously we're competing with all these other things,
Yeah.
but we don't really have a choice." And so it also could have been a test to see like, okay, this is the things that are going on. Let's see what happens when we do this, because we're still getting into new ground. The NHL has been growing at a crazy rate compared to its past history. Yeah. Especially now that we're out of COVID, now that the owners have been paid back for all the money they lost during COVID, to allow the players to keep playing, and now we're seeing the salary cap catch up to the revenue. Like the salary cap does not currently reflect the revenue of the league. It is below the revenue. So we're seeing it catch up. Now is a safe time to be experimenting with different approaches to promoting the game of hockey. Because
I'll give you that.
You're guaranteed growth right now. You're not worried about the game growing, so you can kind of be like, okay, let's test a few things. Let's take some risks. And if it flops, okay, we know not to do that. And we can start to move towards things that we know will work. So it could be a testing strategy for all we know to be like, okay, well, if we want to grow, well, then no, this won't work. And we were wrong in thinking it would, or blah, blah, blah. We don't know all the discussions or the reasoning behind it. So there could be that. Sure. But we know that this doesn't work. And so hopefully they don't keep trying to force this to happen.
Yeah. Yeah. And overall, my outlook on it, I don't think the Frozen Frenzy is necessarily a gimmick. I like the marketing behind it. I like the idea of it. My fear is that they try to get too heavy and lean too far into the gimmicky type of stuff. I think the Frozen Fury is the outdoor game. I think that's why that keeps coming to mind. I don't hate the idea, but it's very gimmicky. I don't know what it's called, but they have the 1 or 2 outdoor games every year.
There's the Heritage Classic, the Stadium Series, and the Winter Classic. Those are the 3 different outdoor games.
Yeah. So stuff like that.
The Frozen Fury was a preseason hockey game hosted by LA in Salt Lake City. There you go.
Yeah. That's why I keep getting that in my head.
Yeah.
Yes, that's the preseason here. But anyway, I mean, the point being, we don't need to add all these outdoor games. We don't need to do all this gimmicky stuff. I was talking to a friend a couple of years ago, when we were at the Frozen Fury. And I had just offhand made the comment, I really would like to see the NHL grow to rival MLB, to rival NFL. And he said, I don't. I said, that's interesting. Explain. And his explanation for that was, we need it to be big enough and have enough revenue coming in to where we can afford to run the league. We can still have operations. We can still have a league to watch hockey. But if you look at all those other leagues, when they start getting billions upon billions upon billions of dollars in there, you start getting advertisements everywhere. It starts becoming way too commercialized. They start having to appeal to non-fans and very, very casual fans, which ruins the experience for those of us who actually like the game. And hockey's still niche enough where if you want to go to a game, it might be a little expensive, but generally you can go get tickets. You can find tickets. It's not just so crazy that it's impossible to go to an event. I think that's all very, very good. I think those are very good points to make. I hope the NHL never grows to be as big as the NFL. I don't want that kind of attention. I don't want that kind of scrutiny. But at the same time, I feel like they're doing, to give Bettman credit, he's doing very well right now at making sure those of us like you and I that are diehard hardcore NHL fans, I still feel like I'm being taken care of. I don't feel like they're abandoning me as a longtime fan. Whereas if you look at NASCAR, And that's the example I'll always go to with this. I grew up watching NASCAR, being a huge fan, and they just said, our ratings are starting to slip because they experienced a huge boom in the 90s and into the 2000s, and then that growth slowed. And their expenses outpaced because they just relied on that growth always being there. And then they said, well, now we need that income. And because we've spent too much money, we've expanded too much. Now what are we going to do? Let's start trying to appeal to the casuals. Let's start trying too hard to pull a new demographic in. Well, these people were never interested. They never will be interested. All that they did was they chased out the people that have been watching NASCAR since its inception. They chased off all the hardcore fans with all this gimmicky crap and a playoff system that didn't need to be there, all these weird marketing stunts. Now they're at an all-time low. NASCAR has never been worse than it has been the last number of years, because they just every year they change the format of the sport. They change the way the cars go. They change everything about it. Ticket prices are through the roof, and there's less stuff to do. It used to be a carnival atmosphere. There were games and prizes and tons of stuff that you could do at the track in between the racing. Now there's nothing, and they're more expensive than ever, and there's less viewership than ever, because they tried too hard to appeal to those people that never cared about the sport anyway. Hockey has not done that, and that's what I'm afraid of. That's why I'm concerned about this whole ratings thing. Not because I think that we need to do something about it, but because I'm afraid that the league will overcompensate and will try to do too much about it. And that's the concern that I have.
I think that's a very valid concern, and I hope so as well. I think there's more they could do to make the game more understandable to the new viewer. Sure. I think there are ways to help the rules seem more clear, either in the stadium or on the broadcast. No, you don't have to do all kinds of crazy things to constantly have it, but I think they've been more focusing on making the game accessible rather than marketing it to the casual.
Yeah.
And I think that's the correct way to go, because it's a very entertaining game. It's a very interesting sport, and it's not just about, it's about slapping a frozen piece of rubber on some ice. But when you look at it, when there's a whistle blows or something happens and, play stops or whatever, or something happens, if you're confused, it's hard to be engaged. It's hard to be interested.
Yeah.
But when things are clear enough and able to understand, that's great. But you got to also, like you were saying, make sure it's not annoying or interfering with the knowledgeable fans' enjoyment.
Yeah.
So I think finding the balance, and so far, I think you're right. They are. But again, let's hope that they don't go too far.
Yeah. Yeah. And even with that, too, the Utah broadcasts, if you've got SEG Plus, they've been doing pretty well at that, where they understand, this is a brand new franchise to a brand new area that's never had one. We have a lot of people that are either Arizona fans that have come over, or people in Utah, because hockey does have a big fan base here. They also understand there's a lot of new fans, people that are new to hockey. And so it's not every game, it's not every time something happens, but there have been a few times where the announcers will be calling the game and there will be a stoppage. And hey, so for the new fans, what just happened was the puck got sent out of play, and because it wasn't touched by somebody else, the referees deemed it intentional. That's a penalty. So they'll just really quickly, every once in a while, they'll shove something in there just to kind of explain, hey, to you new fans that may not understand, this is what this is and what's going on, back to the game. And I find that to be very refreshing without being overbearing or distracting.
Yeah.
So that's a good example of it.
That's exactly what I was talking about. Yeah, you couldn't have given a better example. That's perfect. Yeah. And I think in Seattle too, at least during their first season, they probably still do some of it, but they would have, at a stoppage of play on the Jumbotron, flash up the basic description of the rule of whatever made play stop. So, if it was offside, every now and then they'd flash up the offside rule as to how it works, so that people there who may be confused could do that. So they had a good system, and I really like that, and I think that's very helpful for people, because with people I've gone to hockey games with or been watching with, the amount of times I've explained how some of these rules work.
Yeah.
I've got it wrote. I've got it down. I know exactly how to explain it, but
Yeah,
there's a lot of just the simple things. People are like, I don't know.
yeah. Well, and even with that too, just another addendum on that. I mean, we're starting to get a little off topic, but it's really eerie when you go to a game and there's no broadcast. Because I'm
It is a
so
little
used to
funky, yeah.
watching it on TV
Mm-hmm.
and it's just
Yeah.
silent and all you hear is the crowd. And then if something happens, sometimes you can tell. Sometimes I have no idea what the whistle was for. I have no idea why they called it dead. And I don't know if it's everywhere. I know in Utah especially, when the refs go over the mic, you can hear it on the broadcast. You can't hear jack in the stadium. So they'll call somebody for a penalty. They'll go announce it. I still have no idea what happened. If they
Yeah.
don't show a replay, I have no idea what happened. So especially in the stadium, I think they can do a little bit better on some of that stuff.
Do they not
Either like
announce over the intercom, like, the announcer after a goal, and it's like Utah goal scored by number Dylan Gunther? Like,
yeah,
do they not do
yeah.
that for penalties as well?
I I could have missed some of them. I think they do it for most of them.
Because they should.
But even with that, like if they didn't show the replay and it seemingly, if you missed it and you didn't happen to be looking at the right player, halfway through the penalty kill, if they announced that there was interference, it's like, okay, now I know what the penalty was, but what happened? Whereas on TV, I'm sure they saw that replay 4 times, 5 times, 6 times. So, and they're very good sometimes. There were some plays that had replays. If there's a goal scored, there's a replay. Some of them they just don't, and I don't understand why. It's weird.
That is really weird.
Oh, it makes it a little difficult to follow sometimes, even for somebody like me that has been watching hockey for quite a while. So, I don't know.
Weird.
But, yes, ratings, they're in the tank. Don't freak out, but go watch some hockey.
Yeah. Speaking of watching hockey, it's time for our predictions of the week, aka
Yes.
for today's games. And darn you got me again. So Jeff starts the season 2-0 with a
I don't know how
2-0
that
lead, but oh boy, howdy was it close.
It was. 7-6 was my record. His was 6-7. So he tightened it up this week.
Yeah,
But
that was so close, so darn close.
Yep.
And there have been 2 games that have already done and completed today, so we can't include those in the predictions.
No. Let's mention it. Well, almost completed. 3 minutes left in the Sabres Red Wings game. Sabres are up 4-3.
Oh, I thought it was displaying it as though it was done. Interesting.
No. Yeah, and then 2 minutes left. It's 4-on-4 for some reason. Flyers up over the Wild right now, 6-5.
Wow, that's a bad game to be a goalie.
Right? Yeah. But both of those are within the last couple minutes and 1-goal game, so those could go either way. But yeah, we can't predict those. But the first game that we do have to predict here, Utah at LA.
Okay. I'm taking Utah. I think they're going to bounce back after a rough week.
Yeah, I mean, here's my issue, and because I'm knee deep in it, it makes it a little bit harder for me. We beat the New York Rangers, beat Boston, and then get shut out 4-0 to Ottawa, and then lose 5-1 to Colorado. They're so up and down. We have the potential to get shut out 4 or 5 or 6-0. We also have the potential to beat somebody 8-5. Who's going to show up this game? I don't know. Maybe I'm speaking it into existence, but I'm also going to take Utah today. I'm hoping they bounce back. I also just think the Kings are that weak. I do think they're a weak team. Sorry, Kings fans. I don't see that happening. So I'm going to take Utah as well.
Okay.
After that, this should be a fun one to watch. I'll make sure to watch this tonight. Toronto at Boston.
That'll be a fight. I hope it's a feisty one. And since it's in Boston, it darn tootin' sure would. And I think I have to go with Boston as well.
Darn tootin' Sherwood can
Yeah.
something, whatever you're saying there.
Yeah. Words.
I like it though. I like it. Who else we got? The Blues at Montreal.
I'm gonna take Montreal in that one. I like
Okay.
I like Montreal. St. Louis has been having a decent season, but I like Montreal more.
Yeah, I agree. I agree. I mean, I don't like Montreal. I do think they're going to win though. I know I said it last week and it came back to bite me, but Montembeau has been having overall a very good year. He has had a stinker or two. Overall, he's doing very well. I do think Montreal takes it over St. Louis. Um, Caps at Lightning.
Uh,
Yeah,
that's a
that's a tough
tough
one.
one to call.
That's a tough one.
Like Washington's just been so hot.
Yeah.
Tampa Bay hasn't been slow either.
Who you
I like
got?
Tampa Bay more. I'm taking Tampa.
Ooh.
I'll take
Okay,
Tampa.
that's going to be our first disagreement of the day then. I'm taking Caps. And I'm going to put an extra one on there. Ovi scores tonight.
Okay.
The Quack Quacks versus the Rangers.
Quack quacks. Rangers.
I don't think anybody's going to disagree with that.
Rangers.
Winnipeg Calgary. We alluded to that one earlier today. What are you thinking?
I hate myself for it, but I'm picking Calgary.
Ah. You and me both. I think tonight's going to be the night.
I hate
They've
myself
gotta
for
lose
it.
at some point.
Ugh.
Florida and Islanders.
I pick New York.
Okay. I'm afraid to go against Florida because I keep going against them and they keep winning on the days that I don't pick them. But
Yeah, no, you have to. You'd pick them.
I have,
have
to, and B,
to.
the Islanders
have to.
they are surprising me a little bit. They are doing well. Columbus, Nashville.
Nashville.
Nashville. Okay.
Nashville.
I think we both agree there. I do. Nashville has been slow, but they got that first win. That's all they
They got a
needed.
second one.
They're going to go on a route.
They're hot. They're 2 in a row.
Oh, that's right. That's right.
They're 2 in a row.
That's right.
So they're primed and ready.
That's right.
They're ready to feast.
I love how you're putting this in here too. The Chicago Bedards versus the Stars.
Dallas.
Yeah.
I think that might be the most lopsided betting odds of the night.
Is it?
It is. It is. It is the most lopsided betting odds of the night. Holy cow.
Jeez, you ain't kidding. Minus 360 on Dallas.
Minus 375.
Oh, who are you looking at?
I'm looking on the NHL schedule.
Me too.
What?
Weird.
How are we seeing two different things?
Odds by
so weird.
DraftKings. These odds are by DraftKings. Who's
mine are by FanDuel.
FanDuel. That's why.
Okay.
Okay. Pittsburgh, Vancouver. This is
Pittsburgh
one that
just
I
got
think is
dunked on last night, but they're also at a back-to-back. You know what? Penguins are going to be angry. I'm taking Pittsburgh. I'll take the risk.
Picking the Penguins. All right. I think this is going to be one of the closer games. This is going to be one of the toss-ups of the night. I overall think Vancouver is the better team. But Pittsburgh has overall been playing well and surprising to me. But I'm going to take Vancouver. Do the Sharks win tonight against the long-term injured reserves? San Jose, Vegas.
This is the beauty of Vegas. You can never count Vegas out, regardless of whether it's to win or lose. You never know, because they can beat anybody, but they can also lose to anybody.
Living up to their name in Vegas, they are rolling the dice every game.
It's so true. They can absolutely raffle stomp anybody and get raffle stomped by anybody.
Yeah.
I'll take my boys, Golden Knights.
Okay, same here. And last game of the day, Hurricanes and Kraken. I'm taking Carolina. I mean, that's.
I'm taking Seattle.
You're taking
I want.
Seattle? Okay.
Maybe it's
Well,
because
the
I'm
good.
salty after losing to Carolina in overtime. I don't know, but
That's fair.
that's
That's fair.
I'm taking the Kraken.
Well, the good news is I think we got some good games today. The bad news, I'm counting only 3 total games that we disagreed on.
Hey,
So it's
that's that.
really going to come down to those.
But see, it was an odd number of different ones, so we are guaranteed to have a winner.
It's true. It's true.
That's all we need. We only need to make sure that we're guaranteed a winner, because I don't do ties. I will, if
No.
we're ever in a scenario where we might end up in a tie, I will change one of mine to avoid that.
Well, no. So we'll have to come up in if anybody has any good ideas for tiebreaker games or punishments, leave them in the comments. Let us know. But we'll come up with some fun stuff that we can do on stream to compete, and we'll have to determine winners that way. You can't just go change your bets.
Well, no, like before they happen. Yeah, well, there's always going to be a thing where I'm like 50-50 on, right?
Yeah,
And
yeah.
so if all I have to do is change one of those,
Sure.
and then boom, like we're good. So I'm not worried about that, where it's like, oh, I guess now I have to pick Chicago to beat Dallas, sort of thing. Like this, no.
Dude, watch it happen.
It'd be like the New York Florida one, where it's like, okay, I switch from picking the Islanders to the Panthers. You know, it's simple as that.
Every one of them that we agreed on is going to be wrong today. Watch it happen.
Yeah.
I would lose it.
Hey, if that's the beauty of it, is if that does start to happen, then people could make a lot of money off of going the opposite of our predictions, because if we're always wrong, then technically we're always right.
It's true. It's true. Don't follow us for gambling advice, kids. I'm really bad at it.
Oh, I'm great at it, but I only give the advice for a fee. So
True. Every 10 subscribers that you bring us, we'll give you some lines. On that note, Kynan, do you have anything else for us today?
I quickly I had this in case I felt like it, and I do. But the NHL posted a really funny thing called the most goalies scored on, which is players who have scored on the most number of individual goalies. And spoiler alert, Wayne Gretzky is not number 1 on this list.
Strange.
Yeah. So I think it's let's see this 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So it's the top 10. So coming in at the bottom, we have Mike Gartner, Teemu Selanne, and Joe Pavelski, all tied for 8th with scoring on 152 different goalies in their careers.
That do be a lot.
It just blows my mind how, one, they've scored enough goals spread out across enough teams and across enough goalies to have this many. And that's just the bottom 3 of this top 10 list.
That's fair, yeah.
Yeah. Coming in at number 7 with 154 goalies scored on is Dave Ondrejchuk.
Good enough for me.
I've never heard of him, but I have heard of the goalie he scored the most times on, which is Andy Moog with 23. He was an old
23.
Oilers goalie of the ancient days. Coming in number 6 is Wayne Gretzky, scoring on 155 different goalies.
Which is still a ton.
It is. Number 5 is Ron Francis with 157. Number 4, Mark Messier, scoring on 164 different goalies. Funnily enough, he and Gretzky
I was just looking at that.
have scored on the same goalie the most number of times, a goalie by the name of Richard Brodeur. I don't know if there's any relation to Martin Brodeur.
I could be wrong. I'm pretty sure Marty is his kid. But I could be wrong.
So wait, so we have a 3rd generation of goalie in... Wait, okay, now I have to look this up.
Yeah, we gotta...
Richard Brodeur.
Let's find out here.
Is Richard Brodeur Martin Brodeur's father?
Oh, no. No relation.
No relation.
I
Wait, no.
Dang.
Wait. Now something else is saying that it is.
Really?
He is. Nope. Wait. No. It's. Nope. Nope. He is
So
not.
you have
He's not.
the
See, this
stupid
is AI was
stupid
wrong.
yeah, the AI overview when you Google things now. I hate it so much, but this is a fun one. The Google search is Martin Brodeur related to Richard Brodeur? No, Martin Brodeur is not related to Richard Brodeur, but he is a distant relative of Mike Brodeur. And then it gives you some notes on the three players. Martin Brodeur, Canadian ice hockey player and the NHL's all-time winningest goaltender. He played for the New Jersey Devils for 21 seasons, won the Stanley Cup 3 times. The Brodeur rule is named after him and limits goalies' handling of the puck behind the net. Mike Brodeur, a distant relative of Martin Brodeur. In 2016, he lost his home in the Fort McMurray wildfire forest fire. Richard Brodeur, an ice hockey player.
Wonderful.
That's it. Generative AI is experimental. You don't say.
You don't say. Okay. Coming at
Back to
number
our
three. Yeah. Coming at number 3, Alexander Ovechkin with 175 individual goalies scored on, with the most being Marc-Andre Fleury.
The flower.
The flower. Number 2, Patrick Marleau, just beating Ovi out by 2 with 177. And coming in at number 1, Jaromir Jagr with 178, because the man played for eternity.
That doesn't surprise me.
Yeah, but yeah, that's it. That's all I have. Do you have anything else, Jeff?
I don't. Go out and watch some hockey. Again, we got a ton of games today. I'm gonna be relaxing and watching some hockey today. I got no other plans, so I need to go eat some lunch. I haven't had anything to eat today, and sit down and watch the Utah game. Puck drop. Well, coverage in 10 minutes. Puck drop probably closer to half hour, but I'll be watching that.
Sounds good. I'll watch some hockey. But thank you all for joining us. We'll see you next week, and bye-bye for now.